Okay, we should be live now. Hello, everybody. Yeah, if you're watching this on a VOD on YouTube, which I guess at some point I need to actually upload my VODs, or really beg Keith to help me not forget those. Anyway, if you're watching this on a VOD, feel free to skip ahead. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Subscriber count is trailing behind everything else. I think we've got more people on our mailing list. We've got more people. Well, we got more people on a Loving Robot YouTube for sure. We got more people on Discord. Don't have that many people subscribed on YouTube. You should get on it. Hit subscribe now. I'd rather you subscribe on YouTube than on Twitch. Keep your money. Just help us pump the algorithm. Hey Kronos, what's up? Oh man, I'm coming in slow today, so I'm noticing some things. Chat overlaps with the M&M banner. So let's move the M&M banner up a little bit. I made an adjustment like last week, and I think that's when that happened. So I'll move these up a bit. What's up, Justin Beard? How are you doing, buddy? How's life treating you? Hey, Dram. Alright. So let's get this M&M banner to pop back up again. So I can see if it's in a good spot. It's in a good spot now. Good-ish. Kind of good. Okay. We'll move it just a little bit more. That way we're not cutting off Justin. Alright, early birds. How was your weekend? You set an alarm to make sure you're up. You shouldn't do that. You should get some sleep, buddy. I don't mind if you come in late. I don't mind if you just hang out with us in Discord if you're getting enough sleep. Can you see me okay? I don't have the light on in here. I don't have my overhead light on. I don't have my little light panel on. Any of that shit. I'm trying to keep it a little bit cooler in here. I need to get a little fan in here. I'm in Europe. We don't have air conditioning because we're modern. Oh, okay, Justin. Hey, Flea Save Quit. So far, the summer has been good. A bit sticky. We are listening to RuneScape music, if anybody's curious. We don't need air conditioning, we have perfumes for that. I'm less worried about my smell and just more about the way my skin feels. My arms are sticking to the arms of the chair right now. Loading up Unity. I could have sworn Maine still gets kind of warm up there, doesn't it, Justin? When I was stationed in DC, I was shocked at how hot DC got. It's a hot old swamp. Hey, Dark Inside. Yeah, Justin, I could imagine Phoenix, Arizona, Phoenix, they seem cool. But I could definitely see how I would need some AC there. It's funny how quickly you get acclimated to new environments or deacclimated to old environments, or at least that's the case for me. Got to Austin last month and I was like, damn, this is hot. And then after like a day, I was kind of like, oh yeah, I remember going jogging in this. All right, you know what? I want to run around and check a couple things straight out the gate. So let's do that. And then I need to sneak over to my other monitor and read a couple things that Ali has added. We now have damage reduction value that's calculated from caster level. Yes, have resistance. Okay. Oh, I guess that scene's already loaded. Let's hop in. Dark Inside, do you always take a taxi to work? That's gotta be kind of inconvenient. Dark Inside said the Unity Corp can't seem to catch a break lately. These teams are going down the drain. Seems more ad-based and less game-focused. I guess if you're not considering the number of mobile games that are made on Unity, and if you're not considering the amount of money those games make from ads, then it's easy to kind of distinguish between like the emphasis that I guess appears to be there with regards to ads, given their involvement with ad companies, both merging or acquiring and now being acquired. Though I honestly haven't been paying too much attention. It's just whenever the Unity isn't focused on games conversation comes up in the past, I keep wanting to post the pie graph or the pie chart that shows how much game money comes in through mobile versus how much game money is on like PCs, for instance. Let's see if I can find it. 2021 maybe. Game revenue breakdown. Let's see if we can find ourselves a... You guys might be able to find something faster than I can, but... Game platform. Let's look at this real quick. Well, I need to turn the music down a little bit, huh? Okay. This isn't very easy to read, so I'll translate a little bit. 2021 global games market. Mobile, 90 billion. 79 billion of that's from smartphones, 11.6 billion of that is from tablets. PC market, 35.9 billion. Console, 49 billion. So let's round this up to 50. So 50 plus 36. I'm not really great at math, but that seems to be about, what, 86 billion? So, like 86 billion for PC and console versus 90 billion for mobile. So if it ever seems like an engine's putting some focus into mobile and things that make money on mobile, and that company is responsible for generating revenue, which then turns into profits, which make the shareholders happy, I guess. But I guess could also be allocated to things like expanding different areas or reinforcing, especially when reinforcing capabilities, especially when it's not zero sum. I would say like they're not mutually exclusive. You know what I mean? So if they're focusing on things that help them generate revenue from over 50% of where they're currently generating revenue. Dram, dark inside, be nice. Dram, be nice. Regurgitate is not a nice way of saying that. Is that chart growth or total revenue? It should be total revenue, unless I'm mistaken. But it could be growth. I mean, it's saying 4.9% year-over-year growth. But if you're saying that 90 billion represents 4% growth, then I would say the numbers are way, way bigger. But I could be wrong, Ethan. That's a good question. Hey, Neptune. I could be totally full of shit. I could have looked for the wrong thing. So, Ethan, if you find a chart that's better, Dram, put yourself in my shoes. I deal with people. I'm pulling people out of rabbit holes all day long. And I don't mind. When I'm not going down rabbit holes my damn self. Hey, Keith. Thank you for the continued support. You know you don't have to do that, right, buddy? Hey, Maskask. Anyway. Either way. And another good question, Ethan, is this only North America? I don't know. Deb, thanks for the prime. Let's see. Control Shift T. No, that's bringing up some shit that is. Let's look for it. Total video game revenue 2021. It's funny when we look at like 185 billion and we're like, man, that seems a little low. +45 video game industry revenue statistics. This is from September 10th, 2021. Video game industry generated 179.7 billion in 2020. But in the end, the idea is Unity does not make games like Unreal does, so they don't have a game like Fortnite that generates revenue like crazy and then they pour it into the engine. Okay. This way Unity will actually have a better way to generate revenue that will go back into the engine development. Okay. So it's not a big thing. Not trying. Oh, good points. And thank you. Thank you for clarifying with Dark Inside. We have a very we have a very friendly community here, which I appreciate. The average gamer spends at least 7 hours a week playing games. The indie game market is worth $1 billion on Steam alone. Good job, indie games. Alvius, what's going on? Thank you for the follow. Premium game revenue amounted to 24.5 billion in 2020. Free-to-play games generated 98.4 billion. Income by game. Honor of Kings, 2.45 billion in 2020. Peacekeeper Elite, 2.3. Roblox, 2.29. Pokemon Go, 1.9. League of Legends. Sorry, Free Fire, I skipped you. 1.7. Candy Crush was still at it in 2020 with 1.6. Gardenscapes, those guys make a shitload of money. 1.4. AFK Arena, 1.4. Dungeon Fighter Online, 1.4. Billions. Overall, it's still continuing to trend really well, which is good for all of us, right? Going back up there to that decent number of the indie game market is worth 1 billion. We'd have to discuss what constitutes an indie game at some point, but. Good morning, Demon Injected. Hey, Pattis. So there's all kinds of games for all kinds of people out there. There's all kinds of games making money. There's all kinds of games not making money. There's more of those than there are making money. Middle East and Africa. That region is one of the most important parts of the world for the game industry. Currently, it's the second largest market in terms of players behind Asia Pacific. However, it is the fastest growing market. Good thing we have some folks on the team that know a little bit about that. Especially if I make Ali plural. Epic's PC game store has more than 160 million users, which is impressive. And then you realize Roblox has like 220 million monthly active users. Roblox alone. Roblox as a game platform is bigger than Epic's PC store. 56% of gamers in Europe use PCs. It's because we're a little bit slower to adopt things over here. Seeing these numbers, does it make you want to put in game transactions in your game, experience pots, skins, etc., etc.? No, it makes me want to double down on not doing that shit. Because it makes us different. Wasn't that a song in the movie CB4? After CB4 kind of broke up and they all started like going into their different ways, like different caricatures of 90s hip hop sort of subgenres, and the one guy started going like the De La Soul route, where he was like, he had that song where he's like, I'm different. Yeah, I think that's our shtick. We're just going to be a little different on that front. As you can tell, my dude is looking really weird right now, but it's because Ollie, I'm gonna guess it's because Ollie's been doing some pretty fun and crazy updates to our customization. You did not expect to hear a CB4 reference today when you woke up, Belfaster? Well, I'm not very good at quotes and retaining certain specific information, but there's something about 90s hip-hop references that just seem to stick with me. Albia said, first time on your stream, watched a bunch of EQ history videos before I found out about Eminem. Happy to be here this fine morning. Been a blast talking with everybody on Discord. Are you Albius on Discord as well, or do you go by a different name? Do you want to keep those separate? I wonder if subscription time on each month can count as a microtransaction on phones. It usually goes through the same MTX API. I think, don't quote me on this, that may be the case. If they're not saying it publicly, then I'm really assuming they're tracking them as separate entities. Separate entities in their internal metrics, because at the last company I was at, we were talking to folks from Google and Apple pretty regularly, and they were both really pushing subscriptions. Both platforms were really wanting to get games that supported subscriptions. They're encouraging it and providing more support for developers. It's so funny. Jasmine always gets jacked up by stinging nettles in the garden, and I have no problems with them. But I think I was on my way back when I was riding my bike. I like maybe smacked my arm somehow into a random hedge or something, and there's a stinging nettle in there. I'm like, ow, son of a bitch, that actually hurts. Not hurts, but I mean, it does what the name indicates it would do. It stings. You vaguely remember seeing CB4 in the theaters? Oh. I remember seeing CB4 in the theaters as well. And yeah, there's a story there, but I'm not going to repeat it. It was I was with somebody and it was out of his mind. I've heard you can actually make tea out of nettles, but I don't know how. Yeah, if you look it up online, you absolutely can. There's all sorts of crap like dandelions and nettles and stuff like that that you can make tea out of. You can also, I believe you can also make like compost, like some interesting fermented compost teas and stuff. I'm going to get a lot fancier with gardening next year. Those of you that are just here for M&M, I apologize. If you're new to the stream and you haven't watched the EQ videos where you can maybe get a little bit of a sense of how I ramble and go about things, apologies in advance, because we'll be talking about a lot more than just M&M here today. Mass said that he made stinging nettle soup on school forest trips. which actually, that sounds pretty cool. That's a good experience for a young person. I'm obvious on Discord too. Got a nasty zombie picture I should probably change. My buddies and I used to walk through the fields in Cali full of stinging nettle, and your shins would go no. Yeah. Check out the video posted in Discord. All right, let me see. I need to mute it immediately. Stop talking. This is a Roblox game. Looking tight. That one corner he just went around on the ship just made me think of Crossfire, I think. Oh, there's a Roblox character. Big blocky ass characters. That looks super cool. Yeah, there are definitely teams that do nothing but make Roblox games. And, you know, some of them are making pretty okay money. Have dandelions, a bunch of leaves, can go and lettuce in our bitter, just like radicchio. How do you pronounce that correctly? Radicchio? Oh, well. I have died. Which image, Chinny D? I wonder at what price point a game subscription would have to be at to make it a viable option for revenue first. For a revenue first company CEO. What is the and is that number palatable for the average player? I just hate that the model is I just hate that the model is by far the most profitable because I think the games and players suffer for it. For players suffer because of subscriptions? Belfaster? Oh, the cash shop loot box add-on. Listen, man. It's honestly, I think it's less about whether or not the company's revenue first. I mean, as a company, even though we're a bunch of part-timers pulling it together at the moment and, you know, working through the process the way we are and have the focus that we are, it doesn't mean we're not revenue focused, right? Like, our goal is to not just make money, but ideally make enough money to really pay the team back for their time, get us in a very secure state, you know, do well professionally, and then shore up the resources to do more cool shit in the future. The question is, how much does a company feel that it needs to invest in order to be viable in today's market, based on you guys's like desires or wants or opinions or whatever, and then is the payback window on that, is it something they're comfortable with, and really then what sort of multiples are they looking to get, like, on the back end? Bunny Nala, I'm gonna mispronounce it, but you can give me the phonetics on it. Is it Uelsa Mario? Thank you for the follow. Let me do a couple things here. I forget. I don't think invulnerable works after zoning. Let me go ahead and fly. That may work after zoning, and then zone glass flats. I mean, the big thing that always comes up when we talk about subscription model is barrier to entry, right? Like, how many people do we feel we wouldn't get in the first place if we had a subscription versus free to play? Okay, so /zone put me in a decent place as far as I can tell. If we look at the old cache thing, EG7, I know I've got this pinned somewhere, but I just don't want to look it up. EG7, shareholders, reports. I'm trying to find the full thing. So your point is, my point being, if a modern EQ came out and sucked me in like EQ did, I'd pay $30 as a working adult, not even think twice about it. Potentially, but since they've got to consider more than you, then that may not work. So one of the things that we've discussed, I don't think I'm like oversharing or spilling any sort of beans or whatever. We've discussed on recent streams. So one of the things that I really want to sort of get to the bottom of is whether or not we can have a pay what you will model with a base subscription. So the base subscription would be something reasonable, $10. Maybe a little higher, maybe a little lower, but like let's just start with $10. So it's $10, and then anything you want to give us on top of that. But if you give us anything on top of $10, if you give us $15, if you give us $100, in terms of what do you get out of it, you get the same thank you that people that give us $10 get. It's like you don't get any fucking power-ups, or you don't get a name color change, or you don't get a title, you don't get access, any of that. It's a tip jar basically. It's if the base subscription is $10, $5, whatever, no, there won't be any chrono in the game. There would be no point for chrono in the game. There's no point for any of that type of shit in the game. I don't want to just call out chrono. I think, I'm pretty sure RuneScape did it first with their vouchers or whatever they are, the things that they had. So, 2021, 2022. That's it. Shawn bucks. Bonds, that's what they are. Bond. And so we want that, and I still think it would be rad to have a very have a very good merch store outside of the game that we're constantly iterating on and improving the quality of the merch, and improving the selection and stuff like that, so that you could, like, you know, if we're gonna have FOMO, we'll do it in a merch store. So I know a lot of you would like to support the game in different ways with regards to cash. I think Nick had asked a question in Discord this morning for me, yesterday for you guys, I guess. And so what we're looking at is, and I ran this by the team, I was like, at what point are we okay with accepting donations and or selling merch? And so the point that we're comfortable with is, once we've had people in to play with us and you guys can see it's a working game, the only thing sort of constraining us from having people in and playing with us is our desire to not have you in all the time yet. And you can see the systems work, things hold up. You can kind of see the big bugs or the big challenges or whatever and know what they are and blah, blah, blah. And really it's coming down to scaling the content and things like that. Then we'd feel more comfortable with it. Before we're at a point where you guys have seen players in or you've participated, if you're one of the players that came in, then no, we're not going to take your cash. Let's see, I'm trying to find, since I'm just sort of stumbling my ass through this, they don't have the breakdown here. Guess we could find the one from, was that last year? Hey, Dargoth. How about charging people to play the alpha tests? No, we won't charge people to get in for alpha. It's just not. I don't personally believe in pay gating something like an alpha. I think I mentioned that in a Discord post, and my thing was I'm not looking to pick on any other company or say it's not the right deal or whatever. Hey, Nicodemus, good to see you. I hadn't seen you on Discord, and I was afraid that I offended you in a recent stream. But yeah, so I'm not into it. Sethric, it's not, but it's not just Pantheon. I mean, you gotta pay to get in AOC, right? Same thing happened with, wasn't Crowfall? In order to get in and pay, you needed to be a backer. I mean, Crowfall, didn't they have something like 30 million or something that they had pulled in over the years that they worked on that game? And they worked on it, what, like 6 years? Because I was working with Todd and those guys before he left to go start Artcraft. And that was before I moved to Germany. Alright, this isn't the presentation either. Anyway, I've failed at finding the info. Nick probably would have had it on hand immediately.
No, sir. Just busy having to move my parents this last week. We are good.
Good.
Closing parenthesis.
Well, I hope the move went well. I'm just gonna keep clicking until I find something. Anyway, the whole point of all of this was EQ, even in its current state, seemed like it was doing pretty all right. Like if the team that was working on EQ was its own company, like it would be doing well. Now, if you happen to be working at that company or on that team and you're like, Shawn, you don't know what you're talking about, that's fair. That's very likely true. If you want to sneak me some side info, I won't tell. You can tell me the real deal. Oh, this is interesting. Let's zone again and see if there's something wacky going on here. My FPS meter that you guys I don't think can see in the corner. No, it's covered. My FPS meter is doing some interesting stuff. Star Citizen. Yeah, Star Citizen's a beautiful case. Star Citizen's what? Pulled in $400 million in investment in crowdfunding. Is that true? It's a ridiculously huge number like that. I could have sworn I told my wife that number at one point. And she was just like boggled. So it stuck with me. But maybe I'm low. Maybe I'm lying. Oh, well, okay, that's a little bit better. If I go full screen, then it stops being so goofy. So I was just playing in the editor, being silly. And that's the thing. Like, I'm absolutely not criticizing any game for having founders packs or doing ongoing crowd funding or any of that stuff. And if anything, history may prove when we look back on it that they are smart, and this sort of noble stance of, yeah, we just don't want to do that sort of thing will prove to be aggro off. Will it prove to be the wrong move? Professor said, I'm trying to imagine winning one of these giant Powerball Mega Million lotteries and not having to finish the game to show for it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where I'm very cautious not to shit anybody. We've still got to make a game, and making games is hard. But there does kind of hit a tipping point where I look at some companies and I'm just kind of like, and the thing is, I mean, it's weird because we have a team that is mostly part-time, and when we get to the end of the month, there have been times I look at it and I realize like people had vacations and all sorts of other stuff happening. And yet, I feel like in terms of actual work of value that's been finished at the end of the month by our 10, 11 person part-time crew, I've seen, teams of, companies that employ like 60, 70 people, and then ultimately the team working on that. What's up, Ollie? Thank you for being my friend for 24 months and for renewing our stuff earlier today. What's on my end? Glass flats. I was just making sure that NPCs spawn in here now and stuff. Which apparently they do now, which is awesome. And what level is it? That's going to vary, but I'll put it this way. They're extremely red to me at the moment. Nicodemus, thank you so much for your generosity in giving out 10 tier 1 gift subs to our wonderful people. Sethric, Metallica, Wooshi, Clown Jamboree, Ryle, Brad, Flat Round, Seeking Chivalry, Passive WoW, and Invisigoth. Congrats. Hey, Warlord. Yeah, so it's stuff like this where I'm like, this level, you know, the generosity that you guys show in here, the gift subs and bits and all that other stuff. Thank you so much. It's so nice of you. You absolutely 1000% don't have to do it. I would love in the future for us to get to a point where we feel comfortable accepting tips and stuff, because you guys have been so generous. And I think on another platform that's not like nabbing 50% of it for themselves or 60% of it for themselves, I think, you know, we'd probably do pretty okay. We'd have to see. So anyway, I'm excited to get to the point where we've got merch for you and you guys can give us tips and all of that, but we've got a fair bit to go before we're comfortable with that. How long have we been in development? This is your first time hearing about Monsters and Memories. So, Bunny, we kind of count September as our starting point. I'd have to go back and look at some of the specific messages again and blah blah blah. There was a period around now or maybe a month before now where I was pinging a few people to see if they might be interested in doing an M&M style project, and response was kind of like, you know, and it's nothing on them. It's just that's the way it always is when you're starting something off and you don't have like you don't have your built-in crew of homies that you're already down to go to war with. And so we talked about it more and more on the stream in 2020. So the short answer is roughly 2 years. We're coming up on 2 years. The long answer is then Nick and I started talking about it, and then in more and more detail, and I believe Secrets introduced Ollie to us. I thought Ollie, is that accurate? I don't remember. Or Secrets introduced Ollie to Nick, and Nick was like, "Hey, we gotta talk to this guy Ollie," and then from there it and then it just kind of like became our little crew, and Bunny was in here moderating. She was like the first person to ever stop into my chat when I first started streaming EQ stuff, and I really liked her ideas and lores and stuff. And sorry I say so much. I realize if you're watching it on the VOD, well, whatever. Us and ums. So the basically there were like 4 of us off and on for the first year, and we had some people help out with a couple things and then bounce, and that happened a couple of times. So it stayed basically the 4 of us, with me and Bunny talking about a lot of lore and background stuff. All 4 of us talking design stuff. Nick focused on design and getting QA set up, and Ollie just focused on tech. Really didn't have any art support for the first year, so we contracted art, we contracted concept art, we contracted out some 3D work, which our human character is kind of an iteration of an iteration of an iteration, and then some more iterations of that original 3D character that we had a guy make he was super fun to work with. He's a really cool guy. He was freelancing at the time, but he had basically was just about to start full time for a major MMO company, and he has a really cool name. And so he was actually honestly working as hard as he could to meet the deadline before he was officially starting at this other company and wasn't allowed to work with us anymore. He had a really cool name. I'll say his name, but no one look him up or anything, because We don't want to. Why'd I do it that way? Let's go. We'll do 9 more. We'll stack those. And then we'll do 20 more. I always have to have a lot of bread with me. Otherwise, I'm gonna just be sitting here starving. Anyways, his name was Zoltan. Super cool name. So this guy with a super cool name made our first human model in that first year. Early, some like the very first concepts. Let me see if I can find one of the sort of the first things that were ever made for us. I think you can, yeah, you can still find them on the website. It's not like it's a super top secret or anything like that. You can find them in our old original updates, I think. But let me find one. Oh, that folder is still, the project was called Project N at the time. That was our code name for it. Because we didn't think SchmEverQuest was going to be a good code name. Zoltan as in the G.I. Joe character? Yes. Yeah, he was a super fun guy to talk to. Ali said, I fixed the animation glitch, but I can't push it because your 2-year-old keeps shutting down your PC. I would give that 2-year-old some whiskey. And then she would go to sleep. So anyways, Bunny, that was the first year. And then the second year is when things really started rolling. And that's when we ran into basically the whole crew that we have here now. Like, and I'm trying to remember if it was the end of the first year that Hamad was working with us or beginning of second year, but I would say first year. And he was looking, basically doing lore, and we used some of his 2D work as well on the website. But then we got serious on the art side in year 2. So that included getting should I do alphabetic order? Yeah, I'll do alphabetic order, real name. So Goblin, Zukin, and Pattis on the art side. We picked up John, picked up Gary on the tech side. Most recently, we got Keith. Robert came to us, I think, yeah, definitely after the artist, but before Keith. I forget anybody. I don't. Saw Goblin's stream the other day. His concept art is incredible. Yep. He is a damn artiste. The cool thing is, I mean, the team, as far as I can tell, the team gels pretty damn good. Everybody's got a pretty rad personality. We're still a very small team. We'll eventually have to scale in capability, but it's when a team's nice and small and you got people with good personalities who generally work well together and all that stuff. Just always want to be careful in how we scale things in the future. So, all right, so no pop over here, so we can do some pop over here, but stuff is definitely spawning now, so that's good. That's all I wanted to see, really. You wish the guy who did Cobra Commander's voice would be the announcer for the Washington Commanders games? Or just pretty much anything. Man, it's a little sticky in here today. I think I got to get a little fan for the room down here that I'm in. Is the game engine self-made? No, we are using Unity. Pattis said, it was about a year ago. I started watching EQ dev VODs, and will be a year since I first reached out about the 3D position in about 2 weeks. Nice. You guys try to remember your dates. I can use Discord as well to keep track of some of that. And then when we've got our shit together a little bit more, we'll do a better job of celebrating anniversaries and stuff. So I think one of the first pieces of art that we had commissioned was the stuff that Matilda did in a freelance capacity. So it's like one of the first things she sketched. And she's coming from, like, she honestly no EQ reference. I don't think she's old enough to have played any of the old, like, Asheron's Call, Dayak, or anything. And then that quickly became like some work like this, and then it became this guy from Zoltan, who then went through a lot of iterations. And I know we've just been working. So Bunny Nala, hopefully that answered your question and then some. Are the people you want for the dev team experienced, or are you willing to work with new devs? I would say the bulk of our team is, they're not like people that came straight from the games industry. So we've been pretty good about bringing people in that have like either games related experience, or just general tech experience, or indie/community, indie experience, or came from the community, things like that. So still one of my favorite models to date. When we got the bat in, so before we got the bat in, everything was basically a capsule like this guy. And that included like little satellite looking bats and capsule snakes and capsule alligators and everything. So these things just started becoming critters when we got our artists on, like the bat. I think the bat was one of the first things that Zukin made, and I love it. I love it to death. So Brad, we've been open to bringing people without experience on the team, depending on the role and depending on the person. I think for us, it's mostly about seeing what the person's actual capabilities are, what the like the degree to which they actually really truly want to work on the project, their level of commitment, which usually there's a pretty lengthy feeling out period. And then whether or not the personality drives with us. So. Dargit said it might be nice if the patrolman guards like that only help if you hail them or ask somehow. Hate getting sniped on kills by wandering guards. On one hand, getting sniped by the guards is kind of reminiscent of the good old days. It may be fun to play with, like, remember in EQ you could yell? You could yell for help. Wasn't that a thing? You could yell for help, but it didn't necessarily do anything. Wouldn't it, maybe it'd be fun to have them be kind of like they don't give a shit, and then And then if they hear you yell, they run over there. Albius asks, can you talk briefly about the state of the world lore-wise, or is there a lore lexicon that you should go peruse online? We've been really tight-lipped with the lore for a couple of reasons. So first one is, as much as possible, I really want to find a way to tell you enough about the world and enough lore to get you engaged with it, but then let you find the rest of it in game. And then eventually, if you want to read a lexicon or whatever, you'd go to whatever wiki winds up getting made and supported. I feel like it's something where it'd be more fun to give you enough lore to get you engaged and then let you as players discover everything else. The second reason would be need to update our website. Need to spend some time actually making it so that it's a better home for the bit of lore and information that we do put out. Currently the website's just something I put together in Squarespace, so we'll see. And then the third reason will be there's some lore cleanup that we need to do as well. But I think all the stuff that we want to tell you early on, it's pretty safe. You know, we've got enough of the foundational lore together that we can put that out there. I don't know. What do you guys think? Are you using a custom character controller or package for both the player and PC? Alarm, I believe everything on that front is essentially been at a minimum modified and manipulated by Ali and the crew. I can't wait till we get to textures on the moon. Ali did an experiment one day where he put like a simple sort of moon texture they found online on the moons, and it really brought them to life in a really beautiful way. So, but yeah, Ali put the skybox together a ways back, and it's held up for us. It looks really nice. For those of you that are new, which it seems like there are a number of you, we'll get a quick look at sunrise as well, and keep in mind we're still basically blocking things out and texturing all of that stuff, so you're seeing a lot of placeholder textures or just gray box. But yeah, there's more work that we want to do on both weather and the skybox and all of that stuff. Ali, who is in chat, he will take all of your tech questions. His name in chat is... Hey Karak, it's Ali. And you can just, the last three letters, give them away. He said the character controllers are custom, but pretty simple. Simple is definitely the way we roll, as much as possible. Wouldn't you say, Ali? Winky Van Jorgen, that's funny. Had you played EQ before, or was P99 your first EQ experience? What races start in the town that we're in? So what we're doing right now is we're building out a proof of concept. So it's just it's like a vertical slice of the game. Fairly finite number of zones. But we'll probably have everybody start here for proof of concept. Then we may tweak that as more of the world comes online. One thing that we are playing with as a concept is the idea that you can start in or near any city as any race, but you may not get content that supports your early game experience if you elect to start a city that is not inherently supportive of you, if that makes sense, if you get what I'm saying. And the reason for that is, say I'm a stinky troll and my best friend wants to play a dwarf for whatever reason. Then I, as a troll, could start somewhere close to my friend. I just wouldn't get any of the benefits of starting kind of where I, air quotes, should start. And then we can play together and he can sneak me out some spells or whatever. Some items. Get better friends. Oh, Belfaster. Guards could help. Guards help could depend on guards' place of origin. Troll guards may see you as weak and finish you off. Called a herd. Nicodemus, I like that idea. Yeah, you're gonna have very inconsistent experiences between the races and classes and places. So. So one thing that we're going to be doing more of, apparently I didn't realize it because I thought the general feedback on me streaming earlier in the day was that it was good for everybody. But we were talking about getting more playtests in the other day, and it sounds like it's actually a little bit harder for the team to play at this hour, which sucks. I didn't think about that. So, but we're definitely going to get back to doing a lot more playtesting. Let me make a new character. I'll show you just some of the simple things that I've been adding in, and then also play a little bit since some of you guys haven't seen the game at all. So, Albius asks, I think what I'm mainly wondering is, what is the state of the world for an average NPC person in game? Down to help with lore. Writing is your main talent. Well, hang out with this in Discord long enough, and we may see if that's something that can work. Pull latest? Okay, I'll pull latest. What's the state of the world? Is that what you're asking? Like, what's the tone of the world? I think it's fair for me to like disclose that we're currently in an age of discovery. It's funny, like, I really do avoid lore a lot on stream because there's so much shit that I want to say, but my fear is that some of the cool stuff I'd be like, oh, and then guess what, this happened. And that led to this thing. Doesn't that sound fun, right? Like, I get so excited about that kind of shit that my fear is that's one of those things that really should have been a reveal instead of me just blabbing it. So I try not to say nothing, and then we'll, as we're getting more of this stuff done, we'll continue to talk about the best way to have you find it. What does that even mean, Age of Discovery? What are you trying to do, Ollie? Stirring the pot. Well, Ollie does like to cook. He's a troublemaker. He is. There's a lot from EQ that is integral to Monster's memories, but I was wondering about the opposite. Are there things that you saw in EQ that you didn't like that you hope to improve upon? Like any small quality of life adjustments? I think you're going to run into a lot of like really small stuff that's subtle. And then, I mean, we're just going to be experimenting with some things that may turn out to be quality of life changes in the long run. But maybe I didn't consider that from the onset. Like, I wouldn't have labeled it that. And then a few other systems that weren't a part of EQ that when we described them, may seem like weird priorities. Like, we talk about housing and things like that, but hopefully it all comes together and it makes sense. What should I play? As you can see, we're still fixing some stuff. Cool scar. Mean mouth. Those eyes are pretty crisp. I think we're good. Are y'all looking at in-world housing or instance housing? In-world housing. Which is... Ollie's got some passion in that area. Oh no, I didn't even think about the handlebar mustache. I messed up. It's fine. This guy will be deleted. So yeah, Ollie's already started the foundational work for our in-world housing. That's started. Ollie said, well, typically ages of discovery have been cultures poking their fingers out into darkness that they lit fires against in the past. And it's one of those periods where you're preoccupied with discovering as opposed to conflict with each other. So there's always, you know, it's got that sort of tentative truce period of hostilities kind of being maintained on a DL while energy is spent, well, trying to one-up each other with discoveries, right? Like, I'm trying to find a way of saying that without spelling anything. Yeah, it sucks that there are things like that, like lore, etc., that I need to spend more time cleaning up and working on, but I can't do it on stream. Goblin said, when you're done with stream, I might hop on and try to get that painting finished. I will be done. It's 3 now, so I have another hour and 42 minutes, likely, Goblin. Which, when I say it that way, I'm like... Ollie's vision for housing and crafting is incredible. Did you see it on Discord? How do you know about that? Any ideas for musical direction? Well, what I can do is I can turn off the RuneScape music that I'm playing right now, and I can go over to... Well, you know what? I can just unmute my audio and then you can hear our in-game music. Oh, you bugged the hell out of on Discord a few days ago. Cool. Yeah, Ollie's got a great vision for trade skills and housing, which is good since he's going to be one of the primaries. Well, I never want to leave anybody in the team out. So he's going to be implementing a lot of it. Not to say that Gary and John and Keith won't as well. Bunny, you should hop into our Discord and look for that post. Hold on one second here. This is our Discord. Click that link and join us. Search for what Albius is talking about. Apparently there's some good stuff posted by Ali on it. So listen to this music. Can you hear it? Hey, John. Your 3-year-old said the fire looks so hot. Dad, fire is so hot right now. Have I put torches and lanterns anywhere? No, I have not, Ollie. Pattis has put some light volumes in. I know. I just don't want to. I didn't want to go in and just start plastering torches everywhere. Letting the artists do their art. Oh, where you can buy some? Yeah, you can buy some in game, and if not, I can fix that really quick. Okay, that was our starting theme. I don't have a torch. I don't have any cash either. What was I doing? I was... Nope, I actually have all my spells ready to go. Good. I need to make some more, I think, varieties of lights. Oh, I will accept your invitation. Sorry, I'm not assisting at the moment. I needed to buff myself. Are you guys planning on any survival elements like durability, hunger, thirst, or environmental things? Not durability, but you'll see a little bit of the other stuff coming into being. Even like our light sources, Ali has made it now where we can... Ow! Ali has made it so that like torches will burn out and you can have lamps burn out and refuel them with lamp oil and things of that nature. Weight will have a bigger impact. Still a lot of pixel hunting to loot. If you see, we've also got limited inventory space. Oh, there he is. There's my party member. You're welcome, Winky. So if you look, I've got 8 general inventory spaces. Then I've got a backpack slot. I've got 3 bag slots and 3 belt slots to put other bags and stuff like that. Winky, if you go to our website, those of you that are checking this out, actually not our website. If you go to YouTube, first of all, we need to get our sub numbers up on YouTube so the algorithm loves us more. I've got like 2,000 subs on A Loving Robot, and we've only got like 1,200 or something on M&M. So we need to get you guys over there. I think we got more people than that in our Discord. We've got like coming up on 2,000 people on the mailing list, which you should join if you want to be a part of a cool thing that'll eventually give you cool info. Well, shit, did I mess up resist? Why? Are you seeing crazy damage or something from your spells? Anyway, so be sure to sub on YouTube. We upload all of our VODs here. I don't really upload my VODs as quickly as I should. I'm really hoping Keith will help babysit me on that front. I need to get my stream VODs uploaded there. But anyways, there's lots and lots of video of us working on stuff over the last at least year and a half up there. So please check that out. Why did I mention that? I don't even remember what the original question. Oh, because there's a playlist that's got Robert's music. Fun facts about Robert. I think he's still touring right now. So he's the actual musician that tours and stuff. He's been touring Europe with his band. They make cool music. But Robert's got like a really fun backstory in terms of like game music. So he's worked on game music for a number of games. But he's also done like, if you go to his channel, which you can find via that playlist on our YouTube, you'll see he's done like some really fun and crazy remixes. He's done Commodore 64 like based music, and he's a huge EQ nerd, which is such a cool thing, like to run into somebody like him. And he's a Swede who lives in Finland, which makes him one of the nicest guys in the world. You saw a channel called Mandrake Farms with M&M content. Are they one of our devs? So Mandrake Farms started before Keith got on the team, and it was one of the reasons why we pinged him. Like, hey, you want to do some stuff with us? So Keith, who is doing some programming work, and well, I don't want to say some. Keith, who is doing programming work, was doing video work. I think he may still do video work. That's not me passive aggressively shaming you into doing more video work, Keith. But yeah, so that's the backstory on Metric Farms. Just the strong hints. Ollie's been sitting there for a while, so I'm assuming he's checking his code. Oh, you haven't landed any spells so far. Well, if you haven't landed any spells, that's better than if your spells are too powerful, I would say. What do I own? I own 1 Batwing. I'm not doing very good on the loot front. It's gonna be a while till we get a... You got a less than, greater than sign mixed up? Oh, man. Well, it makes the game harder if everything literally has a 98% resist chance right now. So one of the reasons why Ollie is tinkering with the resist code is, for those of you that are new here, we really want the gameplay experience to convey what the game's going to feel like starting at like level 1. So in order to do that, we need to make it so that your low level spells are actually worth having. One of the questions I had for Ollie and the team was like, all right, so if I've got like a level 1 fire resist as a druid or something, then if it doesn't actually help me resist anything, if there's nothing that, like if this fire beetle isn't like spray me with some sort of a fiery, you know, chemical substance or has some sort of a fiery bite or some shit that I need to resist, then why would I cast that low level resist spell at any point until like whenever, right? So then I've got these spells that are just kind of useless for levels and for, you know, level and level, and it's just, that's no good. And we're missing gameplay. Then it's just really just super basic gameplay all the way up until whatever level this shit starts to come online. So in order for us to have those provide gameplay value, we need a resist system that actually works with that. And so that's what he's been working on. I think that thought was coherent. I was getting distracted by Ollie running around. Okay, server will restart 5 minutes from now with the fix. Okay. Sethric said, is there a dragon up in that glowy dungeon? Spoiler alert, in this specific low level dungeon there is not a dragon. But there is a dragon mouth that you will walk through to get into the dungeon, if that's cool enough for you. Sun's coming up. Alright, so by the time the sun goes down, maybe we'll have a torch. Depending on when this server kicks us off. What are you doing right now, Mr. T-Pose? I want to provoke you. Alright. Now you're dead. We gotta fix this guy at some point. Batwing, Batfur. Oh, I don't know if anybody in town actually accepts critter bits. I did a stun animation. I thought. I had a stun animation in for the capsule people, so if there's no stun animation in, then I will... it's because somebody else, I'm not going to name names, said they were going to do one. And I'm more than happy to hop in Cascader and knock one out. If I was better at listening to instructions, I would actually know how to put those in myself. Here, let's get this guy. Because he's supposed to be hard. There's 2 of us. Let's see how hard he really is. Oh, shit. Ow. Okay. He's pretty hard. Okay. I'm gonna run to the guard. No one is free of blame when it comes to the animation system. We've all done bad things. A healthy beetroot salad. That is a delicious name. I have a garden and Ollie's a farmer. So your name conjures images. I'm gonna let you tank this one. Hold on 1 second. Let me move this UI element over here. Are you a Beetroot fan? Do you know of the band The Bloody Beetroots? I think I died. That's a good sign. I'm very pro dying. Bloody beetroots. Only you'll only like them if you like potentially like loud electronic music. I saw them live, and I'll be honest, been to a lot of shows over the years, a lot of different types of shows, and their live show was one of the most fantastic, most energetic shows I've been to. There are three are three Italian DJs wearing Venom masks. So anyways, your question was, how will you do that though with resist? Won't it call for high variety of elemental damage, diseases, etc. on random mobs to make all the spells useful? That's not open-ended. That's a fine question. Yeah, I mean, but disease. All right, so say, you know, if we think of one of our favorite games, there's a plague rat that, you know, is biting you, and that may be disease based. We've got a fire beetle over here that's could be fiery. These scarabs, they could squirt some like acidic butt juice. What dictates if an item has text on it or not? I can tell you how I did it now. Are those two separate statements? Ollie? Oh my god, I gotta get a fan for in here. I'm so sticky right now. I mean, I know summer's... Whoops, server just went down. Server is restarting with the resist changes. Okay, so those are two separate statements. Ollie says he can tell you how I did it now. How I rewrote the resist formulas. Ollie, do you just want to... oh, wait. If your daughter is turning off your PC, then you probably can't. I was about to say, do you just want to hop into Discord or Slack or something? But I always forget that you got the kiddos. Signor Sergio, thank you for the follow. Elorm, I think I forgot to thank you 31 minutes ago for the follow. I apologize. Okay, Ollie, I just was going to try to keep you from typing a ton. All right, so while that's happening, let me see if anybody's actually, if I added any merchants that would actually buy any of these critter parts off of us. I might not have. I've been adding merchants. How hot is Germany hot? Worse than Dothan, Alabama hot? Oh, no way. No, Alabama, take the cake. Germany hot is, I think it's only like 30 today. Yeah. Come on, phone. Let me check the weather real quick. It is currently 29. I forget what that translates to in English. Let me swap real quick. I wish I could see both at the same time. Fahrenheit as well. Cool. So it's 84 degrees and we're losing our mind. But it's also, we've got 0 AC. I've got one fan upstairs. I really want, I should just put a ceiling fan up here. That would be hot. Winky said, forgot you're in Germany. How are you guys doing? I heard there's an energy crisis. Are you feeling the impacts, or are people blowing it out of proportion? I don't think people are blowing it out of proportion. I think people are probably sleeping on it, if anything. It's not impacting us yet. We're seeing it a little bit in the prices, much like folks are almost everywhere. We're not getting hit. Well, we haven't been hit, as far as I could tell, cost-wise, as far as the UK yet. But we'll see how this winter goes. This winter could actually be pretty bad. As soon as Russia was piling up on Ukraine, the day they went in, I told my wife, I was like, contact our firewood guy, please, and get some more firewood. And she's like, oh, you're so crazy with your prepping. that went on for a couple months, and then she was like, okay, I think, yeah, sorry, I've been blowing it off. And she can't get a hold of the guy. Like, firewood around here is now, everybody's stockpiling. It could be that they're just stockpiling for no reason, but so we've got fireplace and we've got some other means of remaining warm. Plus, I mean, we're young, we're healthy. We can add layers. I'm not as worried about that. One of my neighbors at the gardens that we have a big garden plot in the community gardens. He's got a shitload of firewood because his dad just passed away, and so they're clearing out his property. And so I've got a load there, and I've got like seven bags of firewood, big bags of firewood in our garage. So we'll be okay. Yeah, in terms of like food and everything else, without getting into it too much, we tend to not talk politics or social stuff or whatever here, but you guys, I say that every time, and then I hint at my proclivities. But we're definitely prepared. I tend to try to stay a bit prepped. So we're fairly good on the food front, toilet paper front. Yeah, we're good, Ollie. Benefits of living in a forest: just come live in Ohio. I have family in Ohio. I've liked it the couple of times I visited when I was a kid. My great grandfather was a tobacco farmer in Lynx, Ohio. And my mom's side of the family, the Shamlins and the Heislers, come from Ohio. And yeah, I mean, if my wife is a dental surgeon here, if it was easier for her to just transfer and get a job as a dental surgeon, like without doing 2 years of school, which we've looked, she has to do, we'd probably be in the sticks as long as there's decent internet somewhere in the U.S., whether it be Ohio or North Kakalaki or Montana or something. So Ollie said, resist, with regards to resist rewrite, resist value does two things. One, it gives you a chance to block. Two, it reduces incoming damage. It's sort of a ref on the DRDT idea, except instead of DT, it's a roll for resist. Both are dependent on attacker level and defender resist values. A healthy beetroot salad said my rent went up from $5.60 to $7.60 in the Netherlands. Oh yeah, I was about to say you answered it though. Energy costs. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to be curious to see how our costs get modified at the end of the year this year, but I think we're prepared for it. Ollie said, I'm usually sarcastic about this stuff, but my day job is literally food crisis prepping the country. Yeah. So that's the thing. Ollie is, yeah, when we say he's a farmer, it's a little bit more than that. He is a farmer whose farm has some pretty big responsibilities.
Good morning, afternoon.
Phil, thank you for 24 months. Good morning, buddy. How are you? Oddly enough, your name made me think of the fact that it's a great reminder. August burns Phil. I will not be here Thursday. Thursday morning, I'm getting up at 5 a.m. to meet some friends of my wife's to go to a heavy metal music festival, like I guess an hour from here, for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and we'll be back Sunday. So I will not have a stream on I'll not have a stream on Thursday. Ollie interview, must have Ollie interview, need Ollie's wisdom on farming and server farming. Yeah. I came over here to see whether or not any of the merchants. See, merchant buy list. Sorry, clicked the wrong one. Oh, okay. Shifty Gnome will buy critter bits. Cool. Let me go back in. Do I need to grab latest? Let me fetch. Yeah. Okay. Let me discard my changes. Yes. Pull while I'm pulling, getting back in. Then I'll catch up on chat. Coding Caffeine. Good morning. Coding Caffeine said, long time, no Twitch. Speaking of goodness, this is early for a stream. Yeah, it is. It's my new time slot. So, Justin Beard said Heavy Metal Festival. It could be Bloodsock or it could be Whackin'. Whackin' just wrapped up. We're going to Reload Festival. Well, as soon as we can find a time that works for Ollie, we'll absolutely have him on stream. Ollie said the stories I could tell, we literally have multiple functional bomb shelters on the farm, with things growing inside. Yeah, so I send pictures of the stuff that I'm growing on my my garden plot to Ollie, and then Ollie can tell me immediately like what's going on with them. Speaking of, the corn that I planted is now like this much taller than me. Oh, sorry. Let me accept your invite. School starts in a week and a half. Once kids are out of the house, it will be easier to sort out co-stream. Cool, man. I totally forgot that they go to school. Mine should be close to harvest now. Yeah, it's getting really, really close. It's funny, they went from not having like any ears to looking like they're about ready to go. Oh man, that skeleton and that Ashira are fighting. And I was going to see if we're going to third party them, but guess not. The Ashira just kicked the skeleton's ass. Oh, I forgot that I died. Sorry, I don't have provoke loaded because I died. Let me sit down and do that real quick. And then let me go see if I've got enough cash to get us a torch. Keith, you should know by now that I suck at video games. Well, apparently Ollie doesn't even need my help because he fixed, air quotes, the resists. So I'm just gonna let him solo to death. Where do you die? Where do you die? Where do you buy a torch from? Here, follow me. Ooh, whip that snake ass. I'm gonna take his egg. Gonna plant heirloom corn next year? Nice, yeah, the corn that I planted, I've got some wacky like black, blue, oh no, black, green, and red corn. The black, green, and red, they're separate. That's I got from like a heirloom seed store. Next year I'm gonna plant all the fancy seeds that Ali has recommended. Preparing cages to start a quail operation. I wish we could have chickens. Since we can't have chickens, I've just got like, 10 kilos of powdered eggs in my prepping pile. They do not taste that bad. I guess we took the long way here. Oh well. Nope, he doesn't want the bat fur. Ollie, the torches... Yeah, there's still a number of things that he may not take. I'll have to check and make sure that everything's flagged properly. I thought I had everything, but like he doesn't want his bat fur, so I don't know what's up with that. Gnomes parkouring is a feature, not a bug. Yeah. I think Ollie may have fixed it already, unfortunately. With colors like that to corn, I might find a way to use it to decorate for Halloween. Yeah. And then after it dries, we can grind it up and use it in some nice tortilla meal. And also, there's some nice Peruvian drinks that you can make with the red one. What are your thoughts on putting a general merchant closer to the newbie yard? I think I'm gonna use my usual lame answer of it's a slippery slope. How about we get the newbies to learn where the merchants are? And we don't more and more we'll find that there's not really a general merchant. The merchants like Shifty are gonna slowly lose their generalness. I know it's inconvenient, but a lot of what we do is inconvenient. But right now, I went through, let me see, I've got a list of merchants that I've added, and our merchants primarily want things related to what they sell, so they stay thematically consistent. So let's see. We've got reagent merchants for druids, paladins, clerics, elementalists, enchanter. Basically all the spell folks have reagent merchants. I think we'll have to double check. I think some or many or all of the reagent merchants will buy different class reagents, just because we haven't figured out reagents in detail yet. We've got gems and precious stones, cloth armor, rusty weapons, rusty mail, rusty plates. We got leather armor merchants. We've got better quality. Oh. Oops. We've got trainers in place for every trade skill, including all of our crazy futures trade skills like spinning and lumberjacking and cartography and all that shit. So they're all in there. They've all got a placeholder book on them just so you can see that they work. There's a fishmonger, quartermaster or two, one or two barkeeps, innkeep, stable master, tanner. So there's a bunch of that stuff in there. I think there's well, I know for a fact there's a merchant that sells baked goods. So more and more we'll just look at whether or not their placement feels right, but then it'll be less about making them convenient and more about just making sure that their general layouts make sense, and folks can start learning where they want to go to get stuff. Like if you come over here, and this will be a process of working with both. This will be a process of working with Pattis and talking to Hamad on where stuff is. I started to basically theme out a little bit of the whatchamacallit, the market district. And so we may move some stuff around ultimately. Leatherworking trainer. City's pretty dark right now. It'll be easier to find stuff when it's brighter and themed. Yep. Absolutely. Leatherworking supplies. So Nick had some patterns and stuff in. So you can find the patterns here. I added like a little skinning knife. Since in the meantime, while we're still getting the final trade skill stuff in, I'll probably sit and talk to Ollie for a little bit and see if it's worthwhile to set up any sort of like entry-level trade skills with the system that he's envisioning. Some basic signage go a long way too. Yep. So once we get to that point, I think it'll help. Are we going to use sign, placards, banners to note? Yeah, we will be. So it'll become a lot more apparent as the fidelity goes up. By the way, LOL at the torch throwing flames horizontally. Yeah. I'd like to ask about town factions. Any plans on letting guilds participate in governance as they grow? Maybe getting votes in city council meeting stuff? Ask again in 3 or 4 months. There's a lot that we want to do with the faction stuff, but I don't want to blow smoke up your ass and give you any sort of false promises at the moment. Oh, yeah, while I'm here, let me just run over and look at some of those merchants that are over in the market area. Yeah, we've got enough space, and with what we want to do with the factions, that's definitely... When I was running around in here yesterday, setting some stuff, I was looking at some different areas that we may be able to break up, and then... duplicating some of the merchant functionality, play into some of those rivalries and different factions a bit. So we want to get the first, like, just getting people in and playing with us before end of the year. So that's our target, is we want to at least show you I made kimchi. I made so much kimchi the other day out of radishes and squash from our garden. Oh my god. Excuse me. And so I've been eating so much kimchi. And right then, a kimchi burp almost killed me. So yeah, guys, and I'll mention this on a number of fronts. We will definitely want to set people's expectations for kind of what to expect. When I say playtest, we want to have content in for you, right? So we're going to have quests, and you already see that we've got the full combat loop, all of that stuff. Excuse me. And you know what we're wanting to show is and kind of validate is that you can get the installer, you can install the game. We've already got that. A number of the team members are using like our installer. We're using Sola for this, so using the installer to install the game on their laptops and things of that nature. But you can get the installer, you can patch the game, you can basically use it with, you know, a code to get in, come in, play with us, run around, kill things, group, loot, all the shit that we do as well. Our focus is on 6-man groups, Sethrick. And so, but there's definitely stuff that we've got to get in, some improvements to be made, bugs to be fixed, and a lot of content to hammer away at in the coming months in order to sort of make that worthwhile. But yeah, in theory, we could have you do most of that right now, but it wouldn't be a great experience, and you wouldn't have much to do at the moment. So that's why it's not happening. Ignore all these prices. Everything's just placeholder. Merchants will have names, all of that good stuff. So the Dargeth, to your point, the memorable nooks and crannies is the thing that really gotta get banging on. It's just a lot easier for me to do that kind of work when I'm not streaming, because a lot of it's just, you know, it's either writing work that needs to be taken from writing into data, or it's just straight data work. So. Let me go ahead and load these spells up as well. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting process to see the best way to get assistance from folks. To Nick's question in Discord, when he mentioned early access, like the idea of getting people in for, you know, basically once we have the game at a certain point, getting it to a state where we can do early access. One of our goals with something like potentially, and it's not to say that we're going to do it, but potentially going the route of a more limited reach in terms of where you can play, early access style approach. One goal naturally is there a way for us to start generating some revenue without just, you know, going either the Kickstarter route or asking for pledges but not letting you play. The other goal there is just we'll want to have a lot of constant opportunity for feedback from you guys, because kind of like what's been happening with streaming. So we stream, we show you what we're working on in real time. I mean, hell, you guys have seen it when I've been in a database and you're like, oh, you spelled that wrong. I'm like, okay, cool, let me fix that. But as we're working on stuff, we're working on it in front of you, so we're getting feedback in real time. There's no need for us to go away for like a month or 6 months or whatever on something and then put it in front of the community, and the community immediately finds the gaping error in our thinking. It's like, oh shit, we could have had that info sooner. So the balance that we've got to like figure out is getting people in at a time where it doesn't become a distraction for the team. So it's like, oh, look at, you know, and everybody's reporting the same bugs and shit. The other thing is getting people in at a time where they don't get burned out if it takes a while for us to continue to get things going. But also getting them in sooner rather than later. So why not offer Founders Collector's Edition? You pony up 150. We don't want to do that. We'd rather. So this has been a challenge, and this is why, you know, concepts like early access come out of, you know, when we're discussing possibilities. I'd rather find a way to just take $15 a month from 10 people than to have you pay us $150, right? And I'd rather have that $15 a month come from something where you feel like you're getting something out of it that's worthwhile and not a promise. And And so one thought was, and this is what I asked the team about. Oh shit. Okay. Oh, okay. The scout just ate my skeleton I was going for. Skeleton had a nice weapon. I thought I'd get it, but nope. So one thing that stay away from me, Scout. One thing that I mentioned to the team was the question of, hey, what are your opinions on when is it a good time for us to take donations and things like that, and under what conditions, etc. And I laid out some thoughts. And I think everybody on the team is in agreement that we want to have essentially a function game. We want you to see that our game's here. We've just got to now keep adding to it in terms of scale, not core systems, not have big glaring questions that have yet to be resolved or any of that stuff, and be in and playing. And yeah, to John's point, we just want the game to be at a much further stage before we're taking any sort of cash. Zagyo! Hello, buddy. So, that's what we're working on, getting it to that further stage. And then, the thought that I had was, rather than charge people for access, what we would do is we would have all playtests just be sort of first come first serve. So maybe like on a stream like today where I'd be like, hey, I want to get at least 4 groups in here playing, and then we'll find a mechanism to make it so that you guys can just go from chat into playing with us. And so no paying for access, but maybe we open up donations after you guys have seen playtests and realize that something's there. Open up donations and merch, maybe. Donations would be basically kind of like you're already doing now. I've got 116 subscribers in Twitch. I appreciate every subscription, but why? Why not have those be 116 subscribers on like Gumroad or Patreon or something? They take like 7% as opposed to 50%. And then you can buy merch or whatever. The one thing that I was talking to the team about, and I think I mentioned before, but I'd like to do is, as part of that, we'll post a simplified version of our finances, I think. Then you can also see what sort of cash is incoming from that and where we're allocating it. How much experience do I have? I am at about 25%, Ollie. Nick Naylor said, I don't know if burnout's a bigger problem as you think. You're making game or player driven, not sort of content based game. Content will always be a factor, but I agree with your point generally. There was something up here I wanted to... Is that Scout going to be that higher level mob that terrorizes the noob zone? Because I love how that was the thing on EQ. Winky, yeah. Basically, one of probably several different. Death animation on the bat does need to be fixed. You're correct. Ollie said too fast. I haven't been tracking how many kills I've had. Thank you, Dargus. We've got a couple people experimenting with animations. Oh, speaking of which, one of them should have started yesterday, today or so. So we'll have a couple people seeing if they want to, if they can do animations for us. cloud coverage does come from our technical artist, Ollie. Survivorship bias. Thank you for the follow. I don't care if summer is almost over. I'm absolutely gonna buy a little fan to point at me. Oh my god, I'm just sticky right now. Expect some updates on our textures. I think this is already... I guess this is the new system in place, Ollie? It's already looking better. Best is a fan for under the desk, cooling off the boys. That'd be a weird angle, I think. It'd be a weird angle. Yeah, so we're fixing some things in tech to make the textures look like they should. So they'll be a bit crisper. They'll be a bit crisper. As you can see, like the old textures don't come in as clean as you see with like this face texture. It's definitely a little bit better there. Luke999, thank you for the follow. Well, melee classes also got to buy spells as A level. Yeah, currently everything's given to you via a scroll. So. Yeah, it's currently like 80, I think, what was it? I think it's like 82 degrees in here right now. Hold on one second, replying to a thing. My wife was just telling me the results of the blood work that I had taken. Looks like everything's good to go. Who are you? Why are you biting me? Oh, you beast. I would die. How? It is definitely warm. It's definitely warm. We don't, we don't have AC here, so it's all dependent on fans and airflow. Yeah, I worry about you folks in the US living in like really hot states when your ACs go out. As a Floridian, the concept of no AC is a myth. Okay, so I'm by birth a Floridian. And 1 year we had to move back home to be near the family while my dad was stationed in Korea. And we lived in a trailer in the Ocklawaha National Forest. And that trailer had no air conditioning. I was a sweaty 13-year-old. No AC in Florida in the summer is definitely it's one of those things where you just like you got your fan going, got this. I don't know if the trailer had ceiling fans. It might have pulled the ceiling off, to be honest. You got the fan going, and you're just hoping for a breeze, man. Windows open. Do you find ice cold water a worse or better solution than say nothing, or something like tea or room temperature stuff? Some cold water seems good. Cold shower before bed is nice. Yeah, let's see, what else do we have? I mean, you can rig up like some swamp cooler type action. That might have been a little loud in your ears, sorry. Oh, stay away, Ashira. Don't kill Sumi. Still a little too hunty on the looting. We'll have to work on that. First time you visited your then girlfriend, now wife, while she lived in New Orleans. It was early August and nearly died. Never been so grumpy. Yeah. Best part of living in Georgia. Wait a few minutes. The weather changes. Northern Germany's kind of like that. We yeah, it's funny. I think in Florida, one of the things that helped was we had storms a lot. I remember I was so proud as a 13-year-old. I would dial into the bulletin board system in our area and play Trade Wars. And I remember right after a lightning storm, when everything came back online, I was like rated #1 for a little while until all the people that knew what they were doing logged back in and kicked my ass. We made some coffee at the garden day before yesterday. Had a nice hot coffee, and that actually kind of felt nice as well, despite the heat. This guy's yellow to me. Let me see if I can do anything to him. Oh shit, I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm not even gonna make it to a guard. Come on, patrolman. Come on, patrolman. Okay. Good. That's nice to see. He's not supposed to be easy. Oh. Yeah, a lot of my time in that year that my dad was in Korea was me sitting there on my Commodore 128. Could have sworn this was all still on the Commodore. Playing like Wizardry, Bard's Tale, the Bard's Tales, all of those type games. And going out into the national forest there with my buddy, exploring and plinking and stuff like that. It was nice. Is strafe walking going to be faster like EQ, or is that a bug and not a feature? It was a bug and not a feature, but now it's a feature. Yeah, Bard's Tale Wasteland, definitely. You guys are still talking about the cute jackal pup being killed. Yeah. I mean, depending on, there are definitely critters in game that if, you know, depending on the type of player you are, you don't have to kill them. Our rats are pretty, well, the animation's being a little wacky right now, but our rats are pretty cute as well. You may not want to kill those. There are all sorts of mobs in EQ that I won't kill. Like, I won't kill live-side froglocks. And even if I'm playing an evil character, I don't like to kill them. I just like them. They seem nice. Alright. I need to go sell. Maybe I have enough money for a bag. Let's just go see. In real life, I mean... I get the or discussion that you guys are having. I love animals to death. I'm the worst at like anthropomorphizing animals and you know, I don't want anything bad to ever happen to animals. I don't like cruelty. I don't even kill insects if I can avoid it. We don't really have any shitty insects in Germany, like things that bite you. So if Jasmine's freaked out about a spider or whatever, I'll grab them up and take them outside. But when it comes to food, I am a firm believer that, you know, the animals are also food. And I think if you're, I like the term, I know some farmers use it, if you're harvesting the food humanely, like if you're harvesting the animal humanely, you know, oh, he doesn't want those. I absolutely get all the various conservationist arguments and stuff, and agree with, you know, agree with them and all of that stuff. It's one of those areas where we don't have to have this discussion in here. If you find that, you know, you're bothered by the thought, or you're like super vegan or whatever, that's great for you. Fine. But I you know, since you guys were talking about it, I really wish we could have chickens in our gardens here, but we can't. Yeah, Winky, that's what I mean. I'd much rather just have like fresh game than buy like crazy supermarket stuff. The funny thing is, I go down to the farmer's market. Hey, Isan, sorry, I didn't mean to ignore you when you came in. There's a farmer's market that's here on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. It's really close. It's really big. The chicken breasts that you get from the farmer's market, I can get like a half a kilo of chicken breasts, and they're these nice big plump chicken breasts. And they retain their size when you cook them. Delicious. If I buy, and they're actually inexpensive relative to the supermarket now. Go to the supermarket, the price on the chicken has just been going up, up, up. The size of the chicken breast smaller, 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 and they're full of water. Like the second I cook them, it's just like, a satchel is 1 gold. Oh, I can buy a pouch. I'll buy a pouch. Yep, cool. That works. I've got a belt pouch with 4 slots. Sorry, I wasn't trying to start a whole thing. I just thought it was funny. The vegetarian was talking about skinning animals. Oh, yeah, and it's... I think everybody's been fine with it. I just tend to over-disclaim. We have the iconic Goblin Ghoul Walk animation for any of your mobs, because you definitely should. You never know where inspiration may find its way into the game. M&M farming confirmed. We actually have a farming trainer. I mean, Ali is a farmer. So, obvious, yeah, don't worry about it. And skinning will be a thing. We'll just be talking about like the best way to implement it. So let me know, what do you guys think? Does this sound weird? One of the things that I've mentioned and thought it might be cool, but then you lose some of, like right now you kill something, you get a nice random roll for like a eye or a fang or a tooth, skin, fur, whatever. Like I had mentioned before, like what if when you kill one of these things, there's a consistent like corpse item that's just really heavy, and then you can do things to the corpse to essentially harvest depending on your skill. Like there's a difference between skinning and butchery. And maybe even between butchery and anatomy. Maybe there's some overlap. Alright, so we have one like in chat. Alright, let's just stop there. We have one like, we're good. That's scientific. Our test is over. Vanguard had a great harvesting system that worked kind of like that. I have to refresh on it. It's been a long time. Or have Zukin tell me if he remembers. Zukin plays on the Vanguard emulator as well. He's been playing there, and I've been saying we need to get in and actually play with him. Oh yeah, I really should play Vanguard on stream. You're absolutely 100% correct. Yeah, well, all right. So we'll look at a couple of those examples. We'll kick around how to potentially systematize it, and I'll get with the team, and maybe I'll do some updates there as well. Isan, you mentioned the deer tick in the woods in Maine. Man, those ticks in the US are scary. Rune will get ticks every once in a while. I've only had like 2 ticks this year, pretty tiny ones. Rune will get ticks every once in a while, especially early in the summer before it really gets dry. And man, he got so many ticks this year, poor little guy. He's pretty brave about it. He had a tiny one right by his eye yesterday I had to grab. Dargeth, we've also found like 3 in the house this year. Concept of group harvesting was good for collaboration as well. Are you still talking about Vanguard? Bunny? Bunny, we have the potential for there to be 2 bunnies in chat. Is there, without me saying your entire name, is there another thing I can call you? Yeah, Lime is what I'm worried about.
Look at that rat model, less than 3.
Hey, Stoic. Thank you for 9 months. How are you doing? Alright. Oh, shit. Oh, no. How close am I to level 2? I'm about halfway. It's taken a bit of time, but I'm also not really grinding, right? Maybe most corpses are so heavy you'd really only be able to carry 1, but Sand skimmer carts, make that less of an issue. Yeah, so once we get the pack animals in, then you could probably toss them on there, but getting them out of like a dungeon and shit, you'd actually either need to process them in the dungeon or carry them out one at a time or something. Let's see. Use the back end, Nala? Okay, Nala works. Droop said there have been some good advancements on Lyme disease vaccine. Will be amazing if it comes to pass. Yeah, because it really screws people up. Will melee classes be very auto attack proc reliant, or will they have rotation similar to spellcasters? Still undecided. So, response from Dargeth is in previous streams they've had a decent number of abilities, even at lower levels. A lot more in classic EQ. So yeah, we're not trying to get like crazy. Oh, you continued. Not WoW Final Fantasy style rotation, but more buttons. Yeah, we want to have some more situational or tactical abilities in place, but have it be more about situation or tactics than just like running a rotation. But the way that we've been describing combat is that we want the combat to feel very sandwichy. So like if I'm eating a sandwich, that's probably not the right symbol. That don't clip that. Don't even think about the hand gesture. If I'm eating, I can't do it. So just assume I've got a sandwich in my hand. And I'm eating that sandwich with one hand. It was a Dagwood sandwich. It was a big sandwich. Please don't. I mean, the way you guys are, to wind up on Zukin's stream with me holding something obscene. You'll pay like 10 channel points to make me appear and holding something god awful, saying something random. Keith, I'm going to recommend you don't do anything that they're saying you should do in chat. Style of combat helps with being able to communicate as well. Absolutely. And a little bit of downtime on top of it. I forget, is it Ravier or Ravier? Ravier. Either way, good evening. Oh, now I forget what I did. Ravier? I think Ravier was the second one. Ah, snake. Sorry, I missed some stuff. Was clipping something. You guys. You know what? I'm super anti-authoritarian. And love sticking it to the man. Unfortunately, I guess. Oh my god, I should have rested. In your little peanut brains, I'm somehow the man. So you guys are always sticking it to me. Oof. I don't know how I feel about that. What's the sandwich combat video called? Don't immediately see it on YouTube. Is there one? If there is one, then it's probably... Is that one of the Mandrake Farms ones? Let me sit down. Yeah, Winky, we agree. We kid because we love Shawn. I know you do. I also kid. I don't really think you have peanut brains. You do? Okay. Delicious. with the catastrophe that was our briefer than expected vacation to America, we did not get any boiled peanuts. I should look up boiled peanuts in a can on Amazon. You're deathly allergic to boiled peanuts? What if they're boiled? I mean, peanuts. What if they're boiled, Kimmery? Oh, John. Why'd you gotta do that? Interesting. But the crazy part is it's kind of like eating puffer fish or something. You attempting to eat a boiled peanut to see if it actually, if you're still allergic, would be a whole adventure on its own. Oh yeah, Dargath, you mentioned you harvested 30 pounds of peaches on Sunday. Oh no, that would be horrible if your daughter is allergic to them. I want like a Georgia side of the road from a peach stand, like quality peach, so bad. The only peaches they had when we were in Texas was like Whole Foods had some, and they were all hard. They weren't that nice, just super soft. I know, John. I know you couldn't help it. Combat's feeling pretty good right now, solo. Fredericksburg Peaches. Oh, yeah. If we had more time, I would love to go out to Fredericksburg with Jasmine, since she's German. You've got Red Haven and Sun Haven peaches, which were developed near Grand Haven, so they do well in your climate. Wait, I know we were just talking about this, Dargus, but are you in Florida or Georgia, or neither? Michigan. Oh shit. I was completely off. I don't know anything about Michigan. In your climate. Nicodemus, you're in Georgia. That one I remember, but I thought we had a couple people, and somebody was just talking about Florida's heat and not having AC would be murder and blah, blah, blah. So, for some reason, I thought that might have been Dargus. Nala is in South Florida. I've only visited South Florida. Almost lived there. Michigan is the Feverot in terms of climate, except it also snows. Okay. That sounds fun. I gotta assume any place that produces Ted Nugent's gonna be interesting. Wait, does he still live in Michigan, or does he live in like Texas or something now? I wanna go back and watch his old reality TV show where he's hunting and stuff. The guy's a wild man. When I was stationed in DC, I was actually really shocked at how varied the seasons were there. Flint is still struggling with water issues, tough situations with those. Yeah, that's horrendous. That situation is so effed. You live in West Corona? Seasons are pretty limited in West Corona. If you could live in any EQ city zone, what would it be? Pretending you won't be killed, of course. Oh man, I don't know. Just to live, like where would I want an apartment? Oh shit. Rivervale is definitely seems like it'd be a pretty good spot. Like right now, my life situation, I could see Rivervale being nice. I think when I'm single, well, not that I'm gonna be single again, but when I've been single in the past, Jasmine, if you're watching this stream, that's not what I meant. So when I was single, I would say Nariak Foreign Quarter, maybe? Catacastellum? Pretty big, pretty, Nariak Foreign Quarter's gotta smell... Nariak Foreign Quarter's gotta smell like spilled beer. Let me see something really quick. I wonder if I can do it without the sound being too crazy. Let me try something. I may have to abort the mission if the sound winds up being too crazy.
I'm outside the storage unit. Shawn, let me in.
Larry, what's going on, dude? Thank you for 25 months. Oh, not even joking. We may have to work something out there. Get you down to Austin. You can meet my girl Dolores, who runs the storage unit. She's super nice. Yeah, that'll be one of those things. I'll have to hit you up offline and see realistically what's going to happen. Maybe I'll have a better idea by the end of the year. And there's a fair amount of other random books and shit there that I need to get out, but at least we were able to downsize to like a reasonably small, like I think it's the smallest storage unit that they have, so that's a little bit cheaper. Rat foot. Man, I've got all sorts of rat stuff. Well, let me go sell. Maybe I can afford to buy another pouch. So what I was gonna look at here, let me see if I can do it real quick, or if this sound's just gonna be too crazy. Hold on one sec. Silk Underground. I know it's a place to buy clothing, but it definitely sounds like a club. This is where I would spend most of my free time, I think. Slug's Tavern. Can you sit in the chairs there? You can. I could have sworn you could like hop on and sit. Is this live P99 or private? This is just this is not just a. Oh, maybe this is the bar I'm thinking of. Anyways, you got 2 bars. We got 2 bars like right here. This is absolutely where I'd be hanging out if I could live in a city. Realistically though, I'd probably live in Rivervale and just have to stumble home each time. So anyway, yeah. There's a nice tavern in Eric that has a window into a canal that looks like a giant aquarium. That's nice too. I'm not as familiar with that one. Oh, hey, whose quarters are these? The blind fish. When you say the name, it sounds familiar, but I don't. Is that Nariac? Is that also in Nariac A? Anyways, this is Lantern, the Lantern viewer from the Lantern Project Lantern, which you guys should absolutely check that out. You can find their website. Maybe somebody can post a link and see all the cool shit they're doing in their Discord. They've been basically bringing everything into Unity. It is a super cool project. All right, back to business. Oh man. How you doing? How you doing, Larry? Is this a work day? I gotta get my ass up and actually hop in and see you soon. Workday had a little bit of break. Nice. I appreciate you taking the time to pop in on that break. Oops, wrong door. All right, buddy. I got some more parts for you. Oh, don't want that. Yeah, he doesn't. The jackal pelts. Oh, well, actually, so he won't buy this pelt. Thanks, Harry. I know I say this a bunch, but you know what? I've got to hit you up just in DMs or something and catch up with you. It's been too long. No, it's a lot easier than typing here. So yeah, things are definitely coming along. It's going to be a busy end of the year. Especially, it'll be nice because as the weather starts to go to shit here, I will definitely be spending a lot less time in the garden and out drinking beer. Like I've learned living in Germany and Sweden now for a number of years. When the weather's good, take advantage of it. And so, yeah, it's one of those things where I feel a bit guilty, but when the weather's good, I'm absolutely in the garden or out with Jasmine, getting some beers or something. Like it will be overcast and crappy soon enough, and then be super productive in here. That's why so much good stuff comes out of Sweden, man. When you've got like 7 or 8 months of blackness. Do we get much snow here? Last winter, I don't know that we got any, to be honest. We've had a little bit of snow here in the past in terms of sort of because I was in Hamburg before this. Not a ton. Sweden had decent snow a couple times. Let's see. So, nope, this merchant doesn't want that item either. So let's come and see if we can find somebody that wants this skin. Leatherworking supplies, leatherworking trainer. He doesn't want this skin. You sure? Low quality jackal pelt? No? That could just be a screw up on my part. let me look in the database and see if I just screwed something up or didn't bother to add it. And if so, then we'll fix it real quick so that my demonstration won't be completely incorrect. All right, so actually, we don't have to do that for now. We can go over jackal pelts. Pelt. All right. Somebody should want to buy a pelt. Let's see if we got anybody buying pelts at the moment. Nobody's buying pelts. That's a failure on my part. Let's call that a bug. So let's go in and let's find maybe leather. Leatherworking supplies. So, and we'll come in here and we'll just add a new row pelt. Yeah, so I put leather in, but things are described as pelts. So let's just do this for now, even if we change it later. That's a fun part of iteration. Let's repop the zone. Oops, let's make me a GM. Let's do it one more time, and okay, repop. Any thoughts on player auction houses or like player sold item carts? Player sold item carts. So we want players to have pack animals and potentially carts. We want players to drive the auction process, air quotes auction, the trade process. Want it to be very manual and player driven. We've talked about an idea of giving them essentially containers that have rules associated. So escrow containers. It's kind of like consignment, where you can give a player who maybe has a cart or a pack animal that's a traveling trader, or maybe someone that sits down there in the in wherever people go to trade. But let's pretend they actually like our market area and they want to trade there. And maybe we've even done something to incentivize use of that space. Then it's basically like the old school auction channel, blah, blah, blah. I have the following shit. Who's down? 50, 25. Who wants, you know, price check, all of that stuff. But what I did was, because I'm too lazy to interact, or just because this person maybe is better at selling, what I do is I go to the person and be like, hey, sell me this bracer for 150 gold, please. We agree upon a commission. And then there's essentially a floor where that person can sell it for minimum 150 gold, but if they sell it for 300, then they can also pocket the extra 150 that they got on top. Yeah, so cool. Yeah, if that's what you're thinking, that's the idea for now. And you guys that are maybe just popping in or whatever, I'm really excited because we figured out what was going on with the textures here. These textures, if you look at, it's funny, if you look at the eyes, they're like higher quality. Goblin's got some really nice textures, and so you set up your animal cart somewhere and list your wares. Nope, you've got to actually actively trade with people. If somebody finds a way to bot it, then we'll just have to, we'll have to keep an eye on that and, you know, deal with it. All right. So anyway, we've made some good discoveries oops, over the weekend on why the textures were not coming in as good as they could. So we've got some really nice textures for the faces and stuff. And we want to make sure that they're actually being presented in the right quality level. Excuse me, man. My voice is going, but we're also getting close to that time. So let's see. All right. Cool. The guy bought my pelt. So, oh, I had the music turned off the whole time. I'm sorry. Ever since we went into Nariak, I've had the music turned off. Now I feel bad. Fortunately, I was babbling enough that there's probably no dead air. So anyway, the idea with doing the merchants this way was we want to be able to have a pretty good control over what NPC merchant buys what, so that you don't just find the nearest merchant and you're able to like run up to them and just unload everything on them, because then you never have to go back to the city, right? Also, you don't necessarily need to learn the city or learn who sells what if you could just find the nearest sort of NPC that will buy everything. And then oh, sorry, it's funny, as soon as you ask like really good questions, I get distracted. So I'll answer you in a second, Drew. So and I think this kind of answers this, or answers your question. So basically, if you could just find the nearest, like, whatever random NPC that's near a dungeon 3 zones away or whatever, you don't really have to come back to town to unload your stuff for cash. And here, what you wind up doing is, instead, you would actually have to come back and then go to the appropriate NPC. The other thing that it does is thematically, it's like, why would this person that specialized, they've got a leatherworking supply shop, why do they want, like, a ghoul's head and giant toes and a bunch of other shit, that they can't use? A really expensive rare ruby or whatever. No, you've actually got to take the ruby to the appropriate, like, jeweler and sell it. The other thing that does then, on the flip side, on one hand, it's kind of cool to go into like some weird place like the Jade Tiger in Freeport and find interesting like research item or rune or whatever, or random whatever in there. But on the flip side, this should make it easier for you once you know what the correct merchants are. Like if I'm looking for stuff that's associated with leatherworking, I come in here and then all of the player stuff that's been dumped on the NPC will be here, like this low quality jackal pelt. And so it should be easier for that stuff to get picked up. So anyway, those were the thoughts. One, there's a fictional part of it. Two, it allows us to control and reinforce, like returning back to specific locations instead of like never having to go back to town or never having to go to certain parts of towns. And then there will be those opportunities. There may be an interesting person that will buy certain stuff at a weird inn out in the plains or whatever. So fiction, retaining the value of cities and merchants, and then making it easier for folks that like to shop other people's stuff off of the merchants to actually find that shit. Will there be regional resources stuff only available in certain zones? Yes, Nicodemus. Before you forget, you're not streaming on Thursday, correct? What is your next streaming day? My next streaming day will be next Tuesday, because I'll be out of town on Thursday. Chilmo, thank you for the follow. So I think that answers your question, Droop. You asked, do different vendors offer different prices for items? Like a blacksmith will pay more for rusted weapons, say, versus a fishing merchant? Or are you talking about some vendors won't pay buy an item at all? So we have the ability to do both in theory, but we're starting with they just won't buy an item. And then what I would like to maybe add in is if I try to sell an item that the person doesn't want, potentially have them say, I don't want that, maybe check with so-and-so. Gotta say, I'm not a fan of that. If people would rather stay out dungeoning than visit cities, then why hinder that? Stoop loops, because we want cities to retain their value. If they want to go right outside and sell it to a player that will then take that stuff back and make a profit off of it, good. That's why we're introducing pack animals and mounts and things of that nature, and potentially wagons. And so if players want to set up outside of dungeons and become that merchant, right on. But the idea of why do we want players to go back to cities? It's an MMO, and we want, when people come in, we want people to, you know, see active, alive cities. And if there's a finite number of things that we can do to make cities retain their actual value. So you can commission stuff via the essentially the escrow bags that I was mentioning. So you can give somebody an expensive item. And it could be, you know, based on the contract, that there's some great exploits where I can give you a handful of expensive items, and then you can not fulfill the contract, and then they're returned back to me when I'm in another place. I'm sure there's going to be all sorts of shit like that we have to deal with. Yeah, for us, it's a much bigger priority to ensure that cities aren't just starting cities, but they stay vibrant places with social friction and players running around and stuff. So that's one of the things there. So if you can commission people to do that for you, then they are still not doing that. Yeah. But at least then you're interacting with players, and the players that you're interacting with are most likely either going back to cities or going to some other social center. Let's see. And, you know, it could be one of those things that may not work the way we expect it to work initially. And it could be that just some people don't like the idea. And one of the disclaimers we have with a lot of what we're trying with the game is there are going to be things that people don't like. Hopefully there's more things they like than what they don't like. Or it'll be like broccoli. Hopefully me as mom will say, why don't you just give it a try? And then if you taste it and you like it, and it's not as bad as you thought, then great. And if you hate it, but you're only in the minority, then that's fine as well. I can also see certain vendors having personality, like certain merchant accepts sheer pelts because of a certain personal vendetta. Goblin, yeah, I can see that as well. Which would be a strange one. But that might come more in the form of a quest. That's a good idea, Droop. There's rare merchants that come through, or certain merchants having sort of a finite, or sort of maybe a, what, I forget the actual technical term for it. Diminishing, the items may have some diminishing value or something based on inventory. We could play with that as well. Ultron said also, you could as a player buy bulk from players cheap and then travel to sell it for profit. Exactly. Be interesting to see if the price they pay for an item scales with how many that vendor currently has. Yeah, so I think I just hit on that. We can play with that. Ollie's an economist, so we're going to rely on him to ensure that whatever we play around with doesn't get too broken. This horse may have been beaten to death, but I certainly appreciate the look of that clean, simple UI. I'm excited to see it as we start to get the actual UI art in. So, yep, diminishing returns, Nicodemus. I stumble on my words. D Loves Pudding says, Shawn just loves a memory of us trying to handcart copper ore through true Let me just slow down and read this properly. Loves the memory of us trying to hand cart copper ore through troll-infested forests in Valheim, where we literally had to cut a road back all the way back to our house to not constantly break down. Those were some fun nights. I really, really honestly do have it. Like, I get weird, cozy memories of that period when we were playing. And if there's no item there, destroy player there, destroy the item, break up the group. Or I would say that you know, we will have different skills in where you could potentially break down the item. If you've got so much loot that you just can't handle any more loot, there may not be anything wrong with you going back to town. Hey Ryan, thank you for 21 months. I'm about to wrap up here, but it's nice to see you. Droop says, to add to that, would also make items that are rare in a region worth more. So if in one continent jackals are everywhere, vendors will be stacked and not pay much for them. But on a continent that has no jackals, you may get top coin from the vendors there. Could really drive a sub game of min-maxing vendor sales. I wonder what sort of exploits we might run into. But in theory, if we've already accounted for sort of the max value. Again, Ollie, help us. What if you could burn excess loot in a trash fire? That might be a thing. So yeah, Droop, all good ideas. We'll definitely be we'll be playing around with it. Keith said there was some talk about UI themes, so possibly offering options for simplified or nostalgic themes. John getting ready to implement some of Goblin's UI skins. That's right, he's doing that this month. I'm excited. Yeah, my schedule is very early for you West Coasters. Sorry. Speaking of Goblin, Goblin, are you ready to stream? Is there a rabbit person race yet? No. G. McGrady, thank you for the follow. Nala, it was a pleasure having you in here. I'm glad you've got our Discord now. Anybody else that's new, if you're not a part of our Discord, hop in there. Even when we're not streaming, we try to stay pretty active and answer questions. If you're not on our mailing list, we're creeping up on 2,000 people. Hop on there, help us get to 2,000. The mailing list provides us with a nice metric to kind of see, you know, what the overall interest is, and it gives us a way to communicate with you. We promise not to spam you. Right now, we mainly send out the sort of notification whenever we do the monthly updates. There'll be more information sent out. We've done, I think, 1 or 2 surveys. We need to do more surveys via the mailing list, but again, we don't like to spam you guys on the mailing list. We rather save that for some bigger announcements later. But definitely hit up our Discord. We were talking about farming and gardening and stuff like that earlier. I do that more in my sort of my personal stream Discord instead of the M&M Discord. You can find it there. If you're new to the stream and you don't know about our background with the interviews, the EQ interviews, people like Katerin/Ryan, he's been on there a couple times. 2-3 times. We may even do some more interviews in the future, but now that everybody's actually back in offices and not working from home, it's a little bit harder to line them up. For some reason, Ryan, I thought you did too, but I thought, oh no, I kept asking about like a panel discussion with some other folks, but then I never put it together. That's what it was. Oh, okay. So, yeah, definitely I need to... It takes a little bit of work to set up the interviews and stuff. And with this being so early, I don't know if it's going to work, but I can always change my time. Anyways, if you like EverQuest, check the link I put up there. There's like 60 hours worth of interviews. And we tend to put our VODs on YouTube, except I'm really, really bad at getting my VODs up, but the other folks are a little bit better. Keith is going to help me remember to get all my VODs in a row. What am I doing? I think that's it. I was actually just killing time to see if Goblin was still going to stream some concept art when I'm done here. Goblin? Goblin? No Goblin? Yeah, you're right. He may have fallen asleep. Let me see. Did he say anything in Slack? I don't see him in Slack. Yeah, you guys keep yelling his name. Maybe he'll wake up. Anything in Discord? No. Maybe he just fell asleep. He's got to sleep sometime. Belfaster, I can guarantee the Ogre City will not be a stagnant pond with a little hut next to it. Alright, so I think Goblin fell asleep or got pulled away. What I'm going to do is, here's a link to the folks that stream. It will be 2 stagnant ponds. It may be a frozen pond. Alright. So, if you're in our Discord, you'll get a notification whenever we're streaming. So you'll be able to see when Goblin starts streaming. Hop on there just like you did here. Also, you can give him a follow right now and see it via Twitch. I'm going to wrap up. Like I said, I will not be here Thursday. I've got a heavy metal festival to go to. It's supposed to rain the entire time as well. That'll be great. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I will be AFK. I will be back on Tuesday, and then hopefully I've got a couple more things done. If not, we'll just play test some more. Organ Donor, thank you for the follow. John, you're very welcome. Other folks that said thank you for the stream already. Sorry, I missed you. You're very welcome. Winky, you're very welcome from me at least. Norden, see you. Belfaster, see you. Pattis, see you, buddy. Keith, bye. Nicodemus, good to see you again. Glad it didn't scare you off. We'll catch up. Nala, good to meet you. See you. T-Con. Hey. Have a great day. Albius, you're very welcome. Larry, it is always a pleasure to see you, sir. Same goes for you, D Loves Pudding. Thank you for the sweet, sweet Valheim memories. Kronos, bye-bye. If you're watching this on YouTube, we're pretty much done. I just, at the end, if people are saying bye, I like to say goodbye to people. It just feels like a very Walton's moment. Like, good night, Grandpa. Good night, John Boy. So, we take the time to do that here. We've got a very nice community. Justin, you stay cool, buddy. Don't drink too much Starbucks. Phil, thank you again. Appreciate the 24 months. All right, I'm going to get out of here. I think we've done enough of this. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe, stay cool. And I will see you on Tuesday.